We are live and we didn't tell anybody we're doing it.
Shh, it's a secret.
But we do this every Friday at 5:30. And so it should be no surprise.
Yeah. So here we are. And it was a secret, but it's no longer a secret. So if you want to share this, what does Dr. Barry say?
Oh, you have our permission.
You have our permission
to share this with your friends on
Yes.
social media, far and wide. We love it when you do that.
Yes. So when you get into you're not here yet. So I'm not even going to say it. I was going to say, let us know where you're from and whether you're carnivore curious or how long you've been carnivore. But we don't have many people with us yet. So because it was secret.
We just started and it was secret when we started it. And so we're going to let some people file in, but make sure that you let us know you're here.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we have nothing to respond to. We just ate a wonderful carnivore dinner.
Yes.
JJ has been killing it with the big green egg and the steaks.
I have never been taught to grill. So my smoking on the big green egg goes pretty good, right? Like I can smoke some ribs. They're delicious. That's all okay. But grilling, I just never quite understood that it's about controlling the flame. And so a lot of when I look it up online, they would say, oh, put your meat in a spot where there isn't, more indirect. But I do that. And then pretty soon there'd be flame underneath the indirect area. So I'm finally getting the hang of using the vents to control the oxygen, to control the flame so that I get a sear, but not a burn, not a char.
I do not like char flavor. So I'm glad you figured that out.
So yeah, so we've had the egg for how long?
Oh, years.
Years. Of course, only the last couple have been really focused on steaks though.
Why are you so far over on the edge of this shot? Let's move you in.
Because we all moved this way.
All right. Thrifty is here.
Hello. Oh.
Makes it sound so much more exciting when it's a secret. From Oshkosh.
Hey.
We're going to be going up kind of past that pretty soon to pick up our daughter from Appleton.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to picking her up.
Yes, we are.
But you had something, we had New York strips today.
Yes, we had New York
But
strips.
we had a special additional meat on the plate.
That's true.
And it was really good.
Okay. So I love sausages of many varieties. I know what that sounds like, but just bear with me. Bratwurst, Italian sausages, all the stuff. This one, you were never really into. No, not at all. Breakfast sausage. I'll take a breakfast sausage. Yeah. And so when you bought our meat the other day from the meat market down the street,
yep,
they threw in free
a pound of
sausages, free bratwursts. So I cooked a couple up. Our steaks were kind of small tonight, so I cooked up a couple to put on the side, and
they were amazing. Crazy. I don't know what's in the sausage. We don't want to know how it's made, but it was really good, and it was a nice change up. I haven't had a whole lot of pork of late.
No.
I assume there's pork in sausage.
Yeah.
I haven't even had bacon hardly.
No, that's true.
It's been steak and eggs, some sardines, more steak, and then some ferments.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some people in here. Let's begin the show, JJ.
All right. Well, a warm welcome to you all. I am JJ. I'm a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I do a lot of lawn mowing. And I eat mostly meat, but as I mentioned, I also eat some ferments, which includes fermented dairy.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm liking it.
Yeah.
I don't know if my body's liking it or not. It's not rebelling, but I haven't just become, twice as healthy or half as sick. I don't know what. That was the same thing.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So Sue is here.
Hey, Sue.
Hi, JJ and Eric and new friends. Hit the like, everyone. That is a correct advice.
Especially since this is such a secret.
Yes. Because we were lax in preparation, and not because we don't care about this. It's because we are doing a video shoot tomorrow
Yes.
to end all video shoots for us.
Yes.
It is going to be an epic effort, and hopefully you'll think it was worth it when the video comes out next week sometime.
You've been working on it for several days.
I have not prepared this much for a video, maybe ever.
No.
So get your expectations. Michelle is here from Mountain, Pennsylvania. Or is it Mountain? 2-year Ketoversary is tomorrow.
Congrats.
Hey. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Well, you mentioned that we are doing this massive shoot tomorrow.
Yes.
And so I did want to mention, although I don't see our Illinois friends, at least here, saying hello yet. Karen Miles, the connector of carnivores, she is having a meetup tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And we are not going to be there. And I kind of made this decision, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago or so. I was like, I think I've been so busy lately. We did go to Gatlinburg, and we've been busy since then with property stuff. I've been busy with a work project that I'm redoing. Yay. And I was like, I think we need to stick around. And now we're going to do this shoot. So we're sorry to be missing anyone who's there. I know Jenny Middich is going to be there. So I'm sorry to be missing her. And I think Kelly Hogan is going to be there as well. And I was looking forward to possibly connecting with her again. Yet I'm very happy with our decision. I'm glad.
Yeah, that's tough. We have a limited window in which we can do this.
Yes.
This shoot, because it's outdoors.
Yes.
And weather dependent. But I'm excited about it. I've got camera equipment, batteries charging. I've got chainsaws. I got tractors. We got meat.
I was going to say, and I've got charcoal coming. Some lump charcoal being delivered by Walmart.
Exciting.
This evening too, because I looked and I went, I don't know. I think I might need a little more.
Bumbleberry is with us. Hi, everyone. Hello. It's good to see you back. And Kevin. Hi from Los Gatos, California.
Hey.
Love your shows. Please keep them coming. Well, I'm not sure I remember seeing your name pop up here, which doesn't mean you weren't here. Just means I don't remember it. But welcome. We love to see you.
Yes. Yes.
And Los Gatos is the sum of all of my Spanish.
Oh, we actually, I used to be fairly fluent in college. Like I had a very small window and then my Spanish education stopped and everything went away. I was even dreaming in Spanish at that point. Yeah. And we had a delivery today and the man was scared of our dog.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And he did not speak English. He was trying to explain to me. I eventually got it. He was trying to explain that he needed to get close enough to the house for his app to register that he'd made the delivery. But he was scared of the dog, and the dog's super friendly. So the dog's all like, oh, hello, friend. And all I could remember to say was amigo. That's all I could remember. But it worked. It worked. But it was, nothing about gatos, though. Yep. It was a perro.
Hi, Elizabeth. It's good to see you back.
Speaking of dogs.
Oh, yeah. So last week, our live stream ended abruptly.
Oh, yes.
When I hit one of the buttons, ZSDXAW, by mistake when I put a piece of paper on the keyboard. And that was the end of the technology moment. So we're apologizing for the abrupt end. We were right in the middle of getting ready to talk about transitioning into carnivore and doing a segment on that. We will get to that later in the show. But again, our apologies for leaving you hanging. And I didn't realize that the stream stayed alive after we lost our connection. So it was very strange.
It was weird. But yes, we are going to talk a little bit about that adaptation period of moving into keto or carnivore. So if you have anything to share around that, we would love to hear that in the comments.
Yes, because there's long-time carnivores, ketovores who have as much or more experience than us.
Yes.
So if there's a tip or if you have a question, ask it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something go by in Twitter today, also known as X. But then I remembered, I don't want to look at Twitter today.
Yes.
Because it just stresses me out. But is it true that RFK Jr. gave a speech where he said that medical schools that don't improve their nutrition curriculum for doctors in training will lose federal funding?
Oh.
Maybe it's an idea he had.
Maybe.
I don't know if it's an official policy or not. And at first I was like, oh, finally. And then I was like, oh, no.
What? Yeah. What does that training mean?
Yeah.
What does it entail?
Because I think we all know that nutrition science isn't particularly rigorous just because it can't be.
Well, yeah.
Because you can't have your test subjects not know that they're eating blueberries or meat because they're eating it. So that it makes it a little bit difficult. But if fact check me on that. If you saw that, please give me some info on that, because then I was like, oh, I'm on Twitter. Get off of this. I've got too many things to do.
Way too many things. Well, one of the things I was going to mention last week when we were so abruptly cut off.
Yes.
Was, so we moved into this new house in September last year. And one of the things I've been trying to do is to look for local service people, basically, instead of using the big chains, trying to find our local network, basically, of service providers. And so we had one here last week, and nice guy, did very responsive, did a great job, great customer service. And we were talking a little bit because he's a business owner and we're business owners. And this is not the business, by the way. But and we were talking and he's like, do you have anyone you like to make contributions to? And I said, yes, mentioned a couple things. And he took $100 off of our bill and said, you use that to donate to a charity of your choice.
Amazing.
I thought that was so cool. Like, I don't know. It just really moved me. And I thought it was amazing. So I decided and ran it by you that we will be donating our $100 to Healing Humanity.
Is that in reverse for you guys?
I think it is. But yes, we will be donating that $100 thanks to our local service provider.
Here.
Oh, there.
Just momentarily will be in. Correct.
Yes. Yes. So we've made donations in the past and we've bought the merch, which also supports the movie. And we are going to definitely put that toward him. And one thing I've noticed is a lot of these service providers that are local could use a little healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually even brought up to one of them that we were doing carnivore, and he's like, yeah, I need to do something like that. I did keto and it was really successful, but then I went off of it. Mm-hmm. And we hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Scotter is here. Hey, meat folk. Good evening to all.
Good to see you again. Good to see you.
Bumbleberry, I'm on day 80 of the adaptation period. My cravings have subsided because I realized I was not eating enough. Around day 60, they popped up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And I've had to deal with that because I was sort of got an aversion to beef, and it comes and goes, but right now it's gone. That steak I had tonight, I could have eaten another one. As a matter of fact, last night I did eat another one.
They were small too, so I made you two.
Actually, I was so hungry, I nearly bit my tongue right off.
That is so true. When Eric is eating, and you see him go like this. And he won't move for about a minute or two. You know he has bitten his tongue.
Now, why would I do that? Well, not on purpose.
No?
But you'd think, hey, how old are you? 50 something? You should be able to eat a steak without biting your own tongue. And you'd be right. It was 100% a skill issue. And I don't know what I did wrong, but my tongue zigged when I should have zagged. But it really hurt. Anyway, I ate 2 steaks last night, which is a little bit unusual for me. But the whole point of this was being that sometimes the satiety is so strong that you're just not eating enough. But then the body goes, ooh, and it shifts from being satiated to being craving. And then that's one of those little tricks it plays.
I actually have to do a little macro tracking. For most of you, you know, carnivores, for the most part, we don't do a ton of tracking, but every now and then we do have to. And as I said, or as you said, we have added these ferments into our diet. My carb level is very low still with them, so I'm pleased about that. But they take up volume in my stomach. So I'm noticing that I'm not eating as much meat as I once did. So I just want to make sure I'm getting enough protein.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I am. I'm still eating mostly meat. My breakfast and my dinner are my standard breakfast and dinner. It's that lunchtime that I'm just not getting. Like, I had a half a carnivore bar with my fermented dairy today. I had a half a carnivore bar. I'll have a meat stick sometimes, like a fatty meat stick. So it's more of a snack than a meal.
I had it in lieu of my sardines today.
Yeah. Which is unusual for you, though, isn't it?
Just so busy. I had to sharpen chainsaws for tomorrow's video.
Oh.
Yes, I said saws. What a great place to donate to. Yeah. I don't know about any of you guys, but I am really dying to see this documentary.
Oh my gosh.
It is going to be so exciting. And the footage we've seen at the last meetup in Chicago was really, really pretty cool and very promising.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand why it's taking so long. I mean, it's a huge endeavor, and he's following people for a year.
Yeah.
So right there, you've got that timeline you're dealing with. And then, oh my gosh, the editing. I mean, we know some of what's that at a low level, we know what's involved with all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you told me to watch Carrie's video this week, and I did.
Oh, about what? His heart healing.
Yes. So yes, Carrie Homestead Howe, Healing Humanity. He did a video about his reversal of heart disease.
Heart failure.
Congestive heart failure. And it's an issue he's had his entire life. He got the good results a while back, several months ago, that it had been reversed. But he ran his results and all his tests from the last several years through AI. And AI told him exactly how his heart had healed. All the little details about your ventricular system. That's what is it? A ventricle? I mean, everything. Like the walls of your right side of your aorta and everything. And it brought him to tears.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen that often. It brought him to tears to see just all those things. Check, 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 check. And realize what a huge reversal it was. I mean, it was already huge.
Yeah.
But to see all those details, it was amazing.
And doctors don't see that happen with patients because the patients continue to eat something approximating the SAD diet. Or, they try to eat healthy, but kind of within the bounds of nutritional guidelines. And it isn't enough to make it enough of a difference.
All right. You said I could go off today, so can I go off on
Go ahead.
another?
Yeah.
So Dave Mack, Zero Carb Life, isn't that it? Or no, that's Kelly Hogan.
My zero.
Dave.
We can never remember.
Yeah. he just released a video as well that was done by a friend of his, where it was little clips where they interviewed Japanese people because he lives there. And it really was interesting because we've got this idea of what they eat and that it's healthy. They live longer, the whole Okinawa, is it Blue Zone thing? And what was fascinating was their view of nutrition, generally speaking, was so different than ours. You can tell that they've been brought up into a nutritional system that is completely different. So they were all talking about meat. You need protein. Now, they weren't doing mostly meat. They certainly loved their rice. That was a very popular thing for them to say. But they have not had meat demonized for them, it doesn't seem. They consider it a part of their balanced diet and a healthy thing.
And so that's why they're healthier than we are.
Who knows?
I thought that's where you headed with it.
No, but it was fascinating to see the conditioning around nutrition being so very different compared to if you did that here. Almost everyone would probably at least minimally be saying, well, I'm trying to eat more vegetables. I'm trying to get 5 a day. I'm trying to eat my colors. I'm trying to get a lot of fiber. All of those things would have been included in interview clips from the US.
Got it.
That was not in theirs. Yeah. Hey, Courtney. Hello.
Yep. Oh my God. I made it live. Hi. It's good to see you. Charlie's here too.
Hey.
It doesn't look reversed to me.
Your shirt.
Oh, I got it. There's a meetup at the Montello Theater in July.
No way.
You're looking at me as if I'm going to volunteer to drive anywhere.
That's true.
But I might be persuaded if it doesn't look like it's going to be too hot.
Well, that's true. We'll have to see. Oh, and we're going to be gone a little bit in July too.
That is correct.
To go to.
We have a wedding to go to.
But I want to check that out because I really would like to get to Montello at some point.
Remington says, I always wonder, why do the doctors never become curious how someone reverses their disease, like Carrie at Homestead Howe with his chronic congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
And it is kind of typical that you hear a carnivore will tell the story and their doctor's like, I've never seen that before. And then they say, well, it's carnivore. And they're like, huh. But doesn't it kind of tell you that they're not really in the business of healing diseases? Generally speaking, because they can't turn around with the next patient and say, hey, I just had a patient did carnivore. Maybe you should try that, because then the patient would be like, well, why did I come to you?
Well, and we have to realize too, that there are malpractice issues that if they're not towing the line, and it's true.
Yeah.
It's
Standard
true.
of care.
Standard of care. Yeah. I thought you were going to do something.
No.
But no, we're just here.
I was just making sure I hadn't missed
anyone.
Any important chats. Every chat is important. If you just got here, we're going to be talking about the initial phase of carnivore and kind of transitioning into it. And most of you are kind of way past that. So if you have any tips around that, put that in the chat. Or any questions about it, obviously, put that in the chat. Because we want to sort of consolidate some info for that.
Yeah, we do.
Did any of you see last Tuesday's new video we released? Usually I have a screenshot prepared, but I don't. We took a long form interview we had done last year and sort of did a highlight reel. And then we did some reactions kind of from our perspective now. And it was with the cattle rancher, Amanda Radke, who was also at the time of the interview, 11 years carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
And the full interview is amazing, but I know that from the time that we released that until now, we've probably tripled our subscriber base. And I want to make sure people are aware that that video is out there because it's great.
It really is
But
amazing.
the highlight reel gives you 75% of the good stuff. So I do recommend, so like and subscribe our channel, obviously. And then you can go in there, and our most recent video is, and it's called, This Cattle Rancher Says Something About the Beef Industries That Most Won't. And the thumbnail says, all beef, no bull, which I think should be a t-shirt.
Well, so I love that. So you've talked about especially how meat can taste very different. Steaks
Yes.
can taste very, very different from cow to cow to cow. And I had completely forgotten this from that interview. I'm gonna backtrack for a second. We have our good friends, their sons work on a local beef. What is it? A beef? They call it the farm, but they raise beef. They raise beeves. And one of the sons was telling me, oh, you would never want to eat a dairy cow. Like, that's the worst. Like, ugh. And you don't really hear people doing that. I'm sure if it's necessary, they do. Well, in this interview, Amanda talked about Angus beef. And to qualify for Angus beef, I'm giving this away. You should watch the reel. But to qualify for being Angus, you have to have a percentage of the hide be black, and you qualify as an Angus brand, which means that sometimes dairy cows who are extremely black skinned end up in the Angus pile. Category, in the Angus category. That's what she said. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
We buy certified Angus sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's what I think is predominantly in our local groceries.
It's branded certified Angus, and I think it might carry a little premium. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I remember when that was a thing, like when it first was a thing, but now it's all over.
The advertising thing.
Yeah.
When she talks about the beef, it's what's for dinner, and why they can't talk about the health benefits of beef. It was infuriating.
Yeah.
All right. I think I've seen Dr. Baker wear an all beef, no bull t-shirt on YouTube before. Perfect for him.
Totally for him. Yeah.
I guess we won't make that t-shirt. Not that I had any designs ready.
But maybe does he have merch? He must.
Of course.
Yeah.
We had dairy cow growing up. Our dad would buy a partial cow from his brother, a dairy farmer. When he had a cow to put down, I remember being thrilled to have steaks.
Ah. And it was a dairy cow then. Wait, let me read that again. They had dairy. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, if you don't ever have any steaks, maybe any steak is pretty good.
And I'm just going off what a 15-year-old boy said to me, so I don't know.
So, as we mentioned last week, we got cut off technically, and we apologize for that. And we were going to talk about transitioning into carnivore, but then we were kind of glad that we didn't do it, because after we kind of thought about it, we were like, we don't really love the word transitioning into carnivore. And the reason it comes up is people who are considering carnivore, they hear about they're going to maybe not feel well.
Yeah.
And going through that transitional phase. And there's lots of videos that talk about that phase. And we were like, it's the first stage of healing is what the beginning of carnivore is.
And you sort of had that. You had some symptoms, which we might get into later.
Yeah.
But your mindset was?
Well, because I knew that there was going to be some potential discomfort or feeling icky when it happened. And for me, it was primarily just involuntary cleanses. And at inopportune times, I saw it as a sign, hey, it's working.
Yes.
I did not, and I think I see this many times. If you read a forum or somebody posts on social about carnivore, and then somebody will pipe in, I tried carnivore and I felt terrible.
Yes.
And the difference between me and that person was I expected some maybe negative days, and they were like, I'm just going to feel great from the start. And so my framing was, this is working. My body is doing what it's supposed to when I make this change in my diet. And so I think that for people who are considering carnivore, to go into it with the frame that, yeah, there might be some symptoms of detoxing. We want to view that as a healing phase, not as a transition into carnivore, and definitely not as keto flu. Because when you say that to people, well, who wants the flu? That's not a good recruiting.
I don't want that. No, exactly. It's not good messaging. It's not good recruiting. So we thought today, number one, we would introduce this idea about the initial phase of healing when you go carnivore. And we'd talk a little bit about what that can look like.
Yeah. So if I had a friend who was coming to me to ask like what to expect, I'd be like, well, one, where did you come from? I don't have friends. Who are you? But I would talk about that there is a possibility to feel some fatigue or maybe some GI discomfort, but it's because the body's doing something, is changing modes. And so if you know that's what's happening, then the symptomology becomes understandable, comprehensible, and then not scary.
Yeah.
So what is the change?
So one of the changes is right off the bat that people generally experience is reduced inflammation. Now, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? You might even see that weight go down depending on how much weight you're carrying, because you have a lot of water weight that releases with that. But what can also happen is that the byproducts of inflammation are also being sort of more circulated in your body. Being released. You're detoxing from those. And so the immune system can get a little bit more overreactive, causing that fatigue, causing maybe a headache. What else? Is that about it?
You can have the gut microbiome make a huge adjustment and die off. And that will just literally flush right out of you like it did for me.
Yeah. But I read when we were doing a little research on this that, I mean, we think of it as often being electrolyte related and so forth. And it can be. I mean, that's definitely a technique to use to help relieve some of these detox symptoms. And again, you might be actually flushing out things that your body does not want to hold on to, but it has because you've been eating so much fiber or so many anti-nutrients that now those are also getting released from the body in that sort of purging period.
Because a lot of it gets stored in fat cells.
Yes.
And kind of sequestered there, so it doesn't affect the body. But then when you reduce the fat, those get released.
Yeah. Yeah. And so another thing that can happen when you're going through this first initial phase of healing, and this is the big one, this is what we're going for, is that your body can shift, is working on shifting from carb burning as its primary fuel to fat burning as its primary fuel. And that is a huge process that involves many different systems in the body. You need to have the right enzymes to break down your protein and your fat. Your liver needs to also be involved in that whole transition. I use the T word, that whole healing phase. Your liver is actually releasing that extra glucose in it and flushing that out as well, so that we can get to a point where we're making ketones and our body is using ketones efficiently. And again, that's one of the goals, because when we're using those ketones rather than carbohydrates, the fat that's turned to ketones, we have more clarity, we have more energy.
Why would you have more clarity?
Because, well, here's another side effect. The brain runs optimally on ketones, which is why the ketogenic diet has been studied so long for especially seizure disorders. So the brain loves ketones, so it runs at a better level when it's fueled by ketones. But also, going back to the inflammation, the brain will actually get inflamed from these toxic foods that we eat, processed foods, too many carbs, grains, legumes, nuts and seeds are the worst. And so when you're in that transition period, that might also be part of the headache as the brain is actually returning to its more natural, less inflamed state.
So what else we got?
What else?
Yeah. Bile. I saw her notes over here.
Yep.
This is something that comes up if you're eating primarily carbohydrates. The gallbladder isn't needing to excrete much bile to basically act as a solvent for the fat to break it up into small enough components that it can be absorbed. And so that can be a little bit lazy at first.
Yes.
Because it's got to start releasing a lot of bile. So it may take a little while for that to catch up.
Mm-hmm. So what can be the result of that?
Well, you could have a gallbladder pain, I guess. You could have gallstones. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
Well, and that's another thing the doctors often say is people will go on carnivore. And I mean the good doctors, right? That they'll see people going on carnivore who will then a few weeks in have kidney stones or have a gout flare up. And they'll attribute it to going carnivore.
Yes.
When really it's actually the body healing.
The carnivore is lowering the level until those existing things show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yep. We talked
part of it.
Yeah. We talked about how the body is adapting to burning fat. The microbiome is also adapting. So it's going from a bunch of carb-eating bugs, bacteria. I always say bugs. A bunch of carb-eating bacteria in the gut that are dying off because they're no longer getting the sugar. And as they die off, they can also excrete toxins that can make you feel
or they
poorly.
just become metabolites that get absorbed.
Yes.
And cause a temporary discomforts.
Mm-hmm.
But this is theoretical, and I've heard it repeated many times that having very carb-loving gut microbiome actually affects cravings for carbs. So if there's sugar-loving bacteria, they actually influence through the gut brain your desire for more of their food.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can influence your desire for and cravings. And so theoretically, one of the things that happens is they are starved because you don't eat carbs on carnivore, and then they go away, and then they are no longer exerting that influence, and carb cravings come down, which is a beautiful thing. If that's the mechanism, then I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the mechanism or not. I do know that if you're transitioning to carnivore, retaining artificial sweeteners in the diet can definitely keep sugar cravings alive, because I did that.
And sometimes that needs to be what one does.
Yeah, that's true.
To make it over to the other side.
Yeah, we're definitely not purists.
No, not at all. Not at all. You made me think of something else, and now I don't remember it.
Did it have to do with becoming insufferable?
It might have had to do with that. Yeah. So
everybody you meet, there'll be this risk of you having to tell them about carnivore and how great carnivore is and how much weight you've lost on carnivore. but not everybody has that quick weight loss.
I remember what it was. Not everyone has that quick weight loss, which can be discouraging.
Yes. That was the end of my point.
And the body is healing. He did his framing of it's working. I'm having a cleanse and it's working. And for me, I didn't lose weight for 7 months. And I knew, though, that my body was healing. And so I was okay with that. For me, weight loss is a byproduct of healing. And so I was okay having that patience as I saw other things resolve. The first thing being my allergies. That was amazing. When my inflammation went down, within days, I had a reduction in allergies because that's an inflammatory response too. So that's a very good sign of healing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, how long does the healing phase of carnivore last?
Well, so most people say it's a couple weeks, maybe, a couple weeks. But you had cleanses for a little bit longer.
I did.
Yeah.
So it took me longer.
So it can take longer.
But I think it doesn't just stop. The healing continues. You get adapted and you kind of hit a new sort of momentum with it, and it gets easier to do it and sustain it because the cravings are down. Satiety is great. You eat until you're full and then you don't eat and then you don't need to eat. But the healing can continue at a slower rate. And then all of a sudden, there'll be a day where I ask you, what happened to your ankle injury? And it's like a year plus later, and you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't hurt anymore.
Yes. Yes, it's amazing. That is why you stick through the adaptation period or the initial healing phase. I've heard of people jumping off carnivore because I even heard I wasn't hungry anymore. Well, okay. And the problem is that your hunger hormones are regulating. That is healing. So sometimes you hear people jump off because they feel bad in this initial healing phase. And so I think it's really important to get the message out there that is what's happening is healing. And I've even heard, this is hearsay, but some people say that they ask their doctor, oh, I went on keto, but I felt awful. And the doctor might even say, oh, yeah, you don't want to be doing that. It's not good for your body. And that is exactly wrong. The healing phase is showing that it's actually working, that your biology is returning to its more natural state.
That's it. I think that's enough.
You think that's enough? Okay.
I do. I think that we've covered it.
Let's see what's happening in the comments.
We got to backtrack. There's been all kinds of conversations happening. Charlie says, I've always wondered why beef sold at the grocery store doesn't have fancy marketing claims like beef, because the West wasn't won on salad. Yeah. Well, now we know why. Hey, Simpson, good to see you. 2 years carnivore. Congratulations on that. Remington, the full video with Amanda Radke was amazing.
Oh.
I've tried bid on beef 2 or 3 times since seeing that video.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool service. I do sometimes check into the auctions, and not that long ago I put in some bids, but then I made myself close the browser and not respond when I got outbid. So because I didn't want to get into the eBay sniping game.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden then I would that's my set of steaks. You can't have those. And then it's $1 more and it's $1 more. I'm not going to get sucked into the auction fever. I read somewhere that real food doesn't need marketing. That's an interesting idea. As a term of endearment, my 10-year-old daughter has resorted to calling me beef when she's annoyed with me. Little does she know this doesn't dissuade me.
Oh,
that
cute.
is funny.
Very cute.
Oh, that's great. I pronounced whatever town in Pennsylvania that was correctly, but I don't remember what it was. Eat more beef because plants are trying to kill you. That sounds like a Dr. Chafee shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be an native too before Carnivore.
I feel like we need to have Charlie on one of our lives at some point.
But lost half myself.
Oh,
now I'm just a normal N of one. Oh, that's a good one. That's excellent. Pam says, my husband and daughter shut me down anytime I bring up carnivore.
Is it the health concerns or what is it? I'm curious.
Or is it that they don't want to give up bread?
Yeah.
Because I know I didn't want to give up bread, but I did. And
you've had ample opportunity since I've been gluten-free for 14 years almost. You've had plenty of opportunity.
But I don't have much interest in it now.
No, you really don't. You don't.
We had that sausage with our steak. I didn't put mustard or ketchup on it. I didn't want any of it near my plate.
I put out the mustard, which we do eat sometimes. Mustard is it's the most used condiment in the household, I would say, and it still doesn't even get used much. But I put out the mustard and I put out our sugar-free ketchup just in case. And neither one of us
didn't need it.
Used it. So I think we've up-leveled our carnivore game.
I think we have. Yeah.
But I do want to stress this too. I think that 90-day period, Bella and the Steak and Butter Gang are doing a 90-day challenge right now. She usually just calls them 30-day challenges, but she's doing 90 days because she really wants people to stick to the carnivore diet for 90 days fairly strictly. And of course, they have their whole priming protocol and so forth too, which I totally love. So I think once you're done with that 90-day program or any, 30 days, whatever you're doing, realize that unless you've got a really serious health problem that you're trying to reverse, like type 3 diabetes or something.
Type 3?
Type 3, type 2.
You went straight for Alzheimer's and skipped just regular good old type 2 diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes. There can be sort of a natural evolution. You don't have to necessarily be 100% no seasonings, lion diet, etc.
Yeah, right.
And what we have found, the two of us, like I said, we're not real dogmatic. We don't try to impose anything on other people. And we've had some leniency here and there. And we naturally are tightening up as time goes by. It just happens. It's self-correcting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't correct as fast as we'd like.
No, that is true. Which is why we're doing the ferments right now too, is to experiment. See if they do some of these little issues that are still unresolved.
So far, the experiment has been tasty. But I think that it burns my lips. So
it's true.
I've got to figure that out.
He's getting a chemical peel or an acid peel.
The pH of these fermented dairy is very low. So it is it's like an acid peel on my lips. So I have to try to eat it without it touching my lips. Which it's not good table manners the way I have to eat it. Fortunately, I'm usually by myself, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Smoky Bear Lover. I have not lost much weight, but I feel so good mentally eating this way that I keep it up. My body will eventually release the weight. That's right.
Yes.
Keisha's here.
Hey, Keisha. Hello.
Good to see you. And Jody is here with a yay. Yay back. Pam says they don't want to give up bread and seed oils and just think I'm loony. Yep.
Yeah, I have some family members. Fortunately, I don't live with them, but I do have some family members who are less than supportive. We'll just put it that way.
You have a family member who thinks your results are amazing, but cannot accept that you're doing what you say you're doing.
No. And she thinks that I need a lot of other things added to my diet.
I need to get your live schedules down.
Oh.
We can explain it. 5:30 Friday nights.
Central
time.
Yeah. Is usually, unless we're traveling or
Yep.
I have a play, which doesn't happen that often.
Go ahead.
Jenny Mittich had an interesting interview recently with Dr. Nader Ali, who explained one reason why some people are weight loss resistant on carnivore might be due to lipotoxicity.
I watched that this morning.
Okay, so I wanted sort of light entertainment today. I needed very light, more like Two Crazy Ketos type entertainment and others. This video kept coming up for me, and now you're bringing it up too, Charlie. I know I have to watch this video, and I will. So I just think it's funny you brought it up, because I mean, it would not leave me alone. It was on every sidebar. It was everywhere. And I'm like, no, I can't concentrate on this right now. I need light.
YouTube believes that you will watch the whole thing if you click it.
Yeah. YouTube also probably knows, well, maybe not YouTube, but the universe knows that I need to contact Jenny. No, we've been trying to schedule something, and with my work project, I've been less than responsive. I love you, Jenny. It's not you, it's me.
People don't want to admit carb addiction is a real thing. I actually got into a bit of it wasn't a heated dispute, but a dispute with a guy who ran a gym I used to go to.
Oh.
The kettlebell place. Because he posted something about sugar addiction isn't a real addiction. And I was like, yes, it is. It is 100%. Very, 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 very hard to stop.
She would I don't think she would mind me saying this. I have a friend, and I was talking to her the other day, and we were talking about how, just with her kids, about addictive substances in general. And then she said something about how she couldn't give up her Coca-Cola, because, because it just, when I do, it gives me a headache and I just don't feel well. And I looked at her and I said, I'm not judging you. I have been there. When I was in my deepest adrenal fatigue issues, I used Coca-Cola to just get me through the day. So I told her no judgment, but do you hear what's coming out of your mouth? I can't give it up. It doesn't make me I feel bad without it. I can't make it through the morning.
Well, actually, we were just talking about the healing phase of carnivore.
Yeah.
And you feel bad without your carbs and sugar.
Yeah.
Because you're going kind of through a withdrawal.
It is a withdrawal. Yeah.
Courtney says, meet up tomorrow morning in Naperville, Illinois. Karen Miles is hosting.
Courtney. So it's in Naperville. Now you know. I won't be there tomorrow. I'm sorry I'm missing it.
Yep, we are doing a big video shoot tomorrow.
Yeah. It was a tough decision.
I just received my ingredients for El Ruderai yogurt. We'll probably start it tonight. Yeah. You want to time it so that 36 hours is a reasonable hour, because you don't want it to end at midnight.
Let me say, since we're talking so much about the healing phase of things, we've been having it for about 2 weeks, maybe?
Yeah, about.
And I did notice that when I started eating it, I had some pimples pop up. And I said to you, okay, this is either that I'm entering the healing phase and I'm releasing some toxins through my skin, or I'm having a dairy issue. And I'll know like I'm eating too much dairy because I normally can eat dairy, but when I eat too much, I start to get a little inflamed. Well, those resolved within a couple days. If it had been a dairy issue, I would have kept having that issue, but it resolved in a couple days. And so I had a little bit of something when I started that yogurt, but it was not because of the dairy. It was just, I'm pretty sure it was some die-off or something. I don't know. Detox.
Yep. If you haven't heard of the L-reuteri or any of the other fermented dairies, it's been popularized recently by Dr. William Davis of Wheat Belly fame, also Supergut, I think is. I have the book, and you basically ferment half and half with, you inoculate it with a little bit of this L-reuteri bacteria, and you put it in keep it at 100 degrees for 36 hours, and then you get a yogurt-like substance that is full of L-reuteri bacteria, which is very good for the gut and the system, supposedly, according to him. He's got many videos on YouTube about it, about making it, and about the benefits. I've listened to many, many, many of them. But I will say that I was worried about having a lot of dairy.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it breaks down a lot of the dairy proteins and sugars of concern. But I have not checked my blood sugar after eating it to see what's happening.
No, but AI said don't do much testing at this point because we're still in the healing phase.
Yeah.
and so, yeah. But
if you're a dairy allowed carnivore in your plan, it's compliant.
It is compliant. Now, I did have a little bit of cognitive dissonance with this. And many of you might have heard that when Eric first talked about us needing to eat more protein pre-carnivore by just a couple days, I kind of rolled my eyes internally because he's brought home a lot of different eating protocols throughout the years. And so this, I was a little skeptical, but I went, hey, the carnivore thing worked. So, hey, I'll give it a try. I'm on board. But one of the thoughts I had was, well, the prehistorical humans were not sitting there fermenting their dairy and stuff. But I was trying to go, my brain was trying to say, is this proper human diet compliant? But then I was like, oh yeah, duh. The reason we are doing this is the same reason we supplement with magnesium. It's because in the modern day, we don't have these in our gut. They are not in our...
Yeah, that's his point, is everybody's lost L-reuteri.
We've lost these in our microbiome. So we are merely replacing and again, returning to more of a natural state.
I think we would be very surprised to find out that people ate a lot of rotten
yes,
foods.
I agree
and
with
got
that.
their bugs that way.
I get that too, but I was like, it's a bit of a process. I mean, you've got it down, like you can get a batch whipped up in a couple minutes.
It gets quick once you know how to do it. The first batch of L-reuteri for us separated.
Mm-hmm.
We ate some of the curd. It's not as good as the second batch, which will be creamy and delicious.
Yeah.
If you like yogurt.
Yeah. But I did know that people weren't sitting there with their stick blenders.
No,
blending their
200,000 years
probiotics ago. No. So,
but yeah, it's been interesting, and it's been a nice kind of change of pace to be able to have that texture back in my life, because it's a very much like a pudding texture, and I am a texture hound.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
No, and I'll be very interested to see how I feel and what the results are. I can say that I'm coming off a priming period, and my clothes have been fitting better since we've been eating it. So again, I am also coming off the priming period, but point being, it's not causing any inflammation or weight gain on me. I can tell that for sure.
Not for me at all.
Yeah.
My weight it dropped a little bit at first, and then it came back to perfectly stable.
Yeah.
Need to research that yogurt. Yep. Charlie's asking, have you tried fermented grass-fed beef sticks? They're advertised as being more nutrient dense than non-fermented beef sticks. I have not even heard of it.
No, but I'm very interested.
Yeah, that sounds intriguing. And he's also making a point. Smoking cigarettes wasn't thought to be addictive for several decades.
Yeah, that's true.
Why can't yogurt strains have normal names like Kathy or Todd?
Right? I'm finally sort of catching on though, because when you started it, I mean, it was a different language.
Yeah,
And
I was
I'm
talking
like,
Reiterai and
I
Gasarai
don't
and
know.
Subtilis and Infantis, and then I fermented some juice with this fungus called Boulardii because it turns it into a fizzy, non-sweet drink. You put it in the refrigerator, then you pour a little bit out, and you get a fizzy flavored. And I used apple juice, but I hated the taste. But I also didn't know if it got all of the sugar or just 90% of the sugar. So I've been a little hesitant to consume it, but it was an interesting experiment.
Yeah, I'm okay. I was okay with you doing that. No judgment there. But I wasn't going to jump on the juice bandwagon because I don't know.
It eats all the sugar supposedly.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it does.
Yeah, I don't know. That felt like playing with fire to me.
It does. It tasted kind of like bad champagne, and I've never had a good champagne because I detest alcohol in all its forms. So I didn't love it. Dr. Davis swears it's good for the skin too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's too early for me to say. You can actually apply it to the skin, but eating it is supposedly good for the skin.
Yeah.
Carnivore is asking, go ahead, JJ.
Are you doing 1/2 cup a day? I'm trying out the Ruderai as well, and I'm a little concerned about adding the dairy. I am up to a 1/2 cup a day. But I started it slowly with just a couple spoonfuls, 1 spoonful the first day, I think.
Yep.
And then just kept adding. And again, I noticed a little bit of a couple pimples come up and then they died away. And I just kept sort of slowly increasing. Yeah. And again, I'm not showing signs of any overload of dairy because I'm not only having actually the Al-Ruderai, I'm having a couple other strains as well. So I'm eating about a cup of yogurt a day.
Yeah, we've made Satilis, Subtilis, Gasarai, and Reiterai, which are the 3 ones he uses in his SIBO yogurt protocol. And I just take spoonfuls of all of them and put it in a cup and stir it and then eat it.
Yeah.
Because they all taste about the same.
And here I am. I put it on the scale and I'm like dosing out. I know, but I don't know. It makes me feel good to know that I'm getting the measured amount and no more.
I'm probably not getting enough. Jody says, son-in-law, not carnivore, fixed lamb roast cuts up in thick chunks and left the fat on for me.
Nice.
Used Penzie's lamb rub on the Barbie. Was so good. Well, I would like to try it when somebody else cooks it because lamb is not my favorite. As everybody who has watched this for any amount of time, it tastes like what, JJ?
Hoof juice.
Hoof juice. Can't take the abuse.
So maybe it'll.
But I'm interesting. But I'm interesting. Period. No, I'm interested because, putting it on the Barbie and using the spice rub and having the fat might be good. Now, he infected my brain with hoof juice, though, because I was at first like, it's fine. But then hoof juice just wormed its way in, and I was like, it does kind of taste like that. So, but I didn't know what I was doing, and we were also told it didn't have enough fat. So, yeah.
Michelle is not having dairy right now, so I guess the Reiterai yogurt product is not for you, right?
Yep. Now, this is not carnivore, but I've heard tell that you can use coconut milk as well. But you can also just skip it.
I husband is lactose intolerant, but he can tolerate a little
Oh.
European hard cheese. I'm hoping he'll try the L-reuteri,
Oh,
and it might help him.
interesting. Yeah, it might.
Well, if you listen to Dr. Davis, everything is caused by SIBO, and his SIBO yogurt fixes SIBO. Therefore, it fixes everything. So he does say that lactose intolerance is evidence of SIBO. Histamine intolerance is SIBO. Heart disease is SIBO. Diabetes, you have SIBO. If you wake up and you get out of bed on the left side, definitely SIBO. Right side, 75% chance SIBO. So I don't know what the truth is, but he's convincing.
Well, and it's the same thing with Carnivore, where if you look at his comments, and there are a lot of testimonials there.
Yeah.
So we're giving it a try, and it won't hurt us. And
well, I joined his community so I can watch his secret videos.
Yeah.
And those are pretty interesting. I've learned quite a bit. But the bacteria digest the lactose and leave behind lactase, right? So it should be easier on the gut. Going to try Gasserai next. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That one did not separate on the first batch.
No.
But what we do for any of those who are getting ready to make it is you put some sort of a fiber in it. We use inulin because that feeds the bacteria. And the first batch, we put the bacteria and the inulin in a little bit of milk to create a slurry, but then put the rest of the milk in, but did not really mix it well. And then in future batches, we really mixed the inulin in and really mixed doses of our previous batch in and had no separation, no issue, perfect every time.
Yeah.
Gasserai and Subtilis were perfect from the start.
Yep.
So it's a little bit, you have to wait 36 hours for the first batch to maybe not come out right. It's kind of irritating for people like me who have zero patience. But I will say Subtilis only takes 24 hours. And it's great. Some people used to do L-reuteri and Gasserai together, wondering why I'm not seeing that recommended now. Well, that's 2 of 3 of Davis's protocol for SIBO, which you probably have heard me say by now.
And if you're wondering why you don't just take probiotics, right?
Yes.
Dr. Davis says that you need these massive amounts of probiotics, in the billions,
Hundreds of billions.
And you can only get that through the fermenting process and eating. Yeah. So that's why you can do the capsules, but he highly recommends, especially in the first month or so, that you do the cultured dairy.
I'm enjoying it. I'm not giving it up yet.
No. Oh no, I feel like this is the summer project for me.
All the way through June, for sure.
I'm doing this high dose through June, and then I want to do maintenance the rest of the summer and just see by the end of summer how I'm doing. I was already doing great. There are just some blood markers that I'd like to see tweaked a little bit, and who knows? Maybe this will do it.
Hey, look who's here.
Hey.
Sorry, Chans, you deserve better than that. Here.
I don't know. Carnivore Chans is kind of magical.
I hit the wrong button.
Oh,
It's good to see you here.
yes.
Jody says histamine intolerant. Lamb is the best meat for no hives.
It is, because it's not aged, is what I hear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would adapt if I'd done carnivore, so I already knew the benefits and how good I feel, and I got to a point where I couldn't eat beef, I would find a way to keep on carnivore, and it would probably be eating lamb.
I saw who are they? Is it
Steven and Steph?
Yeah, you know,
I know
who I was
where you're
going to talk
going.
about. Steven and Steph. They made goat recently, and she made him eat it before she told him what it was.
They were very reluctant to try goat, as I would be too. Even though we see it when we've traveled to the Caribbean, we do see it there sometimes. But I think lamb. But they said it was much milder and less.
It was a
gamey.
goat burger.
Well,
So I don't know. Probably depends on where from the goat you get it.
well, that might be true. And of course, it matters what the goat's been fed
Yep.
and where it lives, just like beef.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I expect, we haven't seen Alan here today, but
Oh.
he's going to watch the replay and he's going to tell us about having eaten 3 or 4 goats this month and how to make them.
By the way, some of you are repeat commenters on our videos, and we are so grateful. Even if you're just dropping by and saying hello, we really appreciate the engagement with the videos for the algorithms.
Yeah.
And we like to see that you're watching too.
Yeah.
Hey, it's you.
Yep. I often am reading your comments to JJ across the room.
Yep. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Add the yogurt to the lamb. Maybe the tang of the yogurt offsets the hoof juiceness of the lamb
Yeah.
to create a bite that's acceptable.
But you were dipping your beef into the
Kefir. Yeah,
Kefir.
that's right. I was doing that for a little while because I wanted to try kefir because I hadn't, and we had a bottle of it and I hated it. So I used it as a sauce, which I liked better. And then I got to where I could drink it. And then I sort of almost liked it by the end.
Yeah.
And now we're out of it. But that's a good idea.
Yes.
So, and we also learned from our lamb video. If you haven't seen our lamb video, just search our channel for We Try Lamb. If you want to see me make a yucky face. But we were told in the comments that the lamb we had gotten was too, you just said this.
Yes. Too lean.
Was too lean. But I'm not convinced. But if it was too lean, then adding the yogurt, fatty yogurt, maybe could help it somewhat.
Mm-hmm. And actually, that's something that Eric has been noticing is for a long time, he was having his beef. He had the beef aversion, and then he'd get it down with mustard, basically. You'd get your beef down with by dipping it in mustard. And then he transitioned to cooked egg yolks.
Yep.
And you were using that as a sauce. So we were going through a dozen eggs a day for your steaks. And then we moved into this ferment period, and you're finding that you did the kefir and dipped it in that, but you also like to eat it with sauerkraut.
Yep.
And you're not using any dips right now.
No, the sauerkraut is a condiment.
Yeah.
So it's not a whole lot of it. Obviously,
No,
it's a plant.
He has like a tablespoon, maybe.
But I don't think of sauerkraut as eating a plant. I think of sauerkraut as eating really tiny microbes that happen to be on a piece of plant. So I view it as carnivore because I'm eating little microbes. And the fibrous plant that's left that it's on is just have to take it. But yeah. Costco lamb roast is very mild and tender. So we had chops. So maybe we should try a roast.
You know, we still have venison chops in the freezer.
Cook them tonight. I'll eat it immediately. I'm starving. I made lamb chops once. Nope. Didn't like them. That's because they taste like... Oh, it started where I left off. Hoof juice. You use half and half for your Ruderai yogurt. I can't buy any of that without the vegetable gums.
Oh.
You have a problem with that. Ours is just milk.
Yes. So I was concerned with that because cream always has carrageenan and stuff in it. Like always. It's really hard to find. But the half and half, like I just bought the Walmart kind even and just bought the Kroger brand. And those were just milk and cream in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I don't know have you heard about it affecting the outcome at all? Of the yogurt.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But Dr. Davis specifically says don't get it.
But I thought it was going to be
a
a hard thing, and it wasn't in our area.
You can make it with milk. It'll be a thinner product.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it with heavy whipping cream, and my understanding is that it's very, very thick then, which I want to try because that sounds interesting. Some people will make it with coconut milk, canned coconut milk. But that's not carnivore.
Oh, I did hear something for you carnivores out there. I just heard this today. So Anita, the carnivore, the keto, what is her name? Her channel name? Ketogenic woman. That's it. I'm like ketovore, carnivore. No, the ketogenic woman, Anita, has done this L-Reuteri thing for a while, and she did a Q&A on it. And she said this is really important for carnivores because she asked Dr. Davis this. She did an interview with him. And, some carnivores want to really do like a raw dairy. And you do not want to ferment raw dairy because if there is any bacteria in there that's not the best for us, and we might be able to tolerate drinking the milk, it is going to multiply and grow in the fermentation process. So it could be very, very problematic. So never, ever use raw dairy.
Yes.
Was his recommendation.
The lamb I had was not lean, $5.99 a pound, cheaper than beef.
I like that price. I like it a lot.
We need to get to Costco. We haven't been in a long time.
No, we really haven't.
I came in late, so I started from the start while upping the speed.
The speed.
The speed, yes. JJ has a hoot when talking ultra fast. Yeah, and her laugh is like a little chipmunk. Well, Arrow is throwing a fit upstairs.
He is. And our
that's probably
our Walmart
delivery
is coming soon.
And we've got things to do tonight in preparation for tomorrow, which is going to be a huge video shoot, as we've mentioned before. And look for that video. Tuesday's our usual day, but it might be Wednesday.
Or are you planning it this week, release?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be a lot of editing, but yes, I want to get it out.
And to all of you going to Naperville, I'll miss you. I would like to be there. But we're going to have fun.
If you're not subscribed, please do. If you think you're subscribed, make sure you are. I would say hit the bell, but obviously you've done that.
Obviously. Thumbs up is always better than a thumbs down, but generally speaking, one of those two is better than none of those two. And again, if you haven't seen our interview with Amanda Radke, please check that out because it's pretty great. Mm-hmm. And we will be back with you live next week. 5:30 Central.
From the world headquarters of the carnivore diet, Wisconsin. Every day stronger.
Every day more blessed.
JJ and Eric, their lipids are high. Their doctors are worried they're both gonna die. Is LDL harmless? They sure hope it's so. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. Salad is toxic, seed oils are doom. They rub on tallow like greasy perfume. Ribeyes and bacon, that's all they know. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. No wheat, no kale, they're laughing at greens. 18-hour fasts are their favorite routines. Sugars for suckers, they're chomping on fat. Streaming to you live from a tallow fat. Eric's got muscles, JJ's got zen. They're coming to chat with their carnivore friends. So toss out the lettuce, embrace the beef glow. It's the JJ and